Week 14. We have very little weeks left. But yeah, I mean, I can't really wait. This is going to be. This is coming very, very tight towards the end of the season in terms of the AFC playoff picture. A lot of teams are pretty much have the exact same record. A lot of teams can get in and out. But one game away for a lot of teams. One game, big decisions. Everyone's got to be sharp. I can't personally wait. I think the Broncos have a chance to, kind of get into the playoffs here late in the season after starting horribly. But, yeah, honestly, I can't wait. I'm very excited to see how this, is going to turn out. But either way, let's kind of get into it. We got a lot of little things to go over for this week. Sorry, this is Thursday also. Been kind of busy lately with stuff. But, yeah. Let's go on to a upset, in my opinion. We had the Patriots and the Steelers. Steelers ended up losing this game. I believe they lost back-to-back to 2-9 teams. They lost last week to the... Who did they lose to? Lost to the Cardinals last week. Now they lost to the Patriots. Back-to-back L's. Bailey Zappi had a great game. 3 touchdowns. Probably his best game of his career. 240. Perfect passer rating. He had a pick, though. Mitch Trubisky, doing Mitch Trubisky numbers. Nothing crazy. Nothing spectacular there. Zeke had a lot of all-purpose yards. He had a lot of big plays in the passing game. Not a lot of success on the run game. Just kind of... Zeke, I feel like, is just a placeholder for this offense. There's no real... sorry, I don't even know. There we go. Probably a little confused there. Yeah, I mean, he's just a placeholder. There's nothing crazy about what he's doing for the Patriots. There's nothing that wows anybody. Najee Harris, I think he's officially a bust. I mean, 12 carries, 29 yards. I mean, he doesn't do anything. He has, pop-up games, but he is not consistent. He's not a good running back. Not even a good build for a running back, to be honest. Hunter Henry had 3 catches, 2 touchdowns. Pretty great game. As you can see here, not a lot of first downs were occurring in this game. But the possession time still wasn't even a factor. I mean, the Patriots, I feel like, kind of stole this game, to be honest. But I was glad, the defense for the Steelers just was not showing up to play. And the Patriots just kind of took advantage of that. And pretty easy win. Pretty entertaining game for a Thursday night game. Wasn't expecting that to be entertaining at all. But yeah. Next we have Sunday's games. We had the first game of the 12 o'clocks with the Panthers and the Saints. Pretty sure a lot of people got this, game correct. Bryce Young, 137, no touchdowns, no picks, a lot of thrown ball. He throws a lot of passes away. I feel like his confidence level is just at an all-time low. This team, it's very unfortunate that the Panthers don't have a pick. You know what I mean? They need a playmaker. They need Marvin Harrison Jr. And they're not going to be able to get him. And it sucks because the Panthers are in desperate need of weapons and they are just at a lack of everything. I will say, though, this team has fight. I was watching a little bit of this game and, people are still going all out. They're not, giving up. It's just the fact that they're losing and they're just not great. But I don't see any quit in this team. They play to the end. This is a team they could very easily just stop playing at the end of the first half, but they don't really give up. That's something that you got to watch out for, character-wise, at least. But yeah, the team needs a complete teardown. They need new coaches. They need young guys. They need to build correctly. Whenever you rebuild, there's 2 ways of rebuilding. There's replacing, and then there's complete tear down rebuilds. And what the Panthers were doing was in the middle. They just kept adding veteran dudes, kept bringing people back. They weren't ever rebuilding. They weren't ever really restarting. And that's something that they need to do. They need a complete teardown, get some rookies in there, get some young guys, build a solid offensive line, and pick playmakers that will fit Bryce Young's play style rather than put guys that will maybe fit his play style. But, yeah, they just need a complete rebuild, and they're just doing it the incorrect way. The Panthers somehow had 20 third downs in this game. I mean, they're just not moving the ball down the field. You know what I mean? And 1 for 7 on 4th down. I mean, they just can't move the ball. It's sad to watch. Cranberry grape juice. Get you some. But yeah, you can see here, 9+ minutes of possession. More first downs, way more third downs that they had to try to convert. Pretty easy win for the Saints. Yeah. Next we have the Rams and the Ravens. This was a pretty entertaining game. Went to overtime with a walk-off touchdown on a punt return by a backup punt returner. Wasn't really expecting that. Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp had a great game. Lamar Jackson had a pretty great game as well. This game was just back and forth up until the end. A very entertaining game. Wasn't really expecting this type of game from this. People are kind of sleeping on the Ravens. I don't know if y'all are, but I kind of was sleeping on the Ravens. The Ravens are actually kind of good. It seems like their roster isn't that great, but they just find ways to win the game. And they just keep doing that. And that's typically how a lot of teams who win the Super Bowl kind of, are able to do that. Once you just kind of get on a hot streak and your confidence is an all-time high and you just keep being consistent, these type of teams make it to the Super Bowl. Look at when the Rams and the Bengals went. Look at the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals went on a roll. But, I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens kind of sneak into the Super Bowl here. But I don't know. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, Cooper Kupp, like I said, he had a great game. Odell had a pretty decent game. I feel like he's kind of catching his stride late. They're finding that connection very late. Man, dude, the Ravens just need a running back. If you give the Ravens an Alvin Kamara, watch out. But as you can see here, lots of offense in this game. 47 first downs. The Rams had way more possession time. Just couldn't get it done in the overtime, though. They were kind of able to, go out and win the game, and they just couldn't do it. And the Ravens on a crazy punt return walk-off was not something I was expecting there. I did get... By the way, I forgot to mention, I got the Steelers-Patriots game wrong. I got the Saints-Panthers game right. I got this game wrong. This next game I did get right with the Colts and the Bengals. So this game was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. I wasn't expecting the Bengals to just destroy the Colts like that. But, yeah. Jake Browning, he's doing pretty decent. Like I said, he's just kind of being thrown into the fire. There's not really high expectations for this quarterback. You're the backup. You got to do what you can. But he's keeping the Bengals' playoffs hopes alive. So give credit to him. Gardner Minshew, not really a great game with him. He just couldn't really get the ball going. Not that you can't blame. He doesn't have a lot of weapons. Let's be honest here. The Colts, so the difference between the Colts and the Dolphins, the Colts have probably the second fastest players in the skill positions. It's just a matter of they can't utilize them correctly. Like, they're fast, but they're not good. The Dolphins have fast players, and they're good. Joe Mixon had a okay game, just kind of chunk plays, kind of get the ball moving, chains keep going. Michael Pittman had a pretty good game. But, the Bengals just kind of, were dominating this entire game, more possession time, just the turnover battle, and I don't know. I mean, it was just a lot better defense was played than the Colts here, but pretty easy win. Nothing really. There's not a lot of highlights. It's just a matter of the Colts just were not able to really do much. Got this next game correct as well with the Jags and the Browns. Oh, I'm sorry, I got this game wrong. I picked the Jags. They lost. Trevor Lawrence, 3 picks. I was very skeptical. When Trevor Lawrence was coming out of Clemson, they were hyping him up to be like the greatest prospect since Peyton Manning, John Elway. I was like, I don't see it. I don't see it. I see the mobility, I see the arm strength, but I don't see like the decision making. I don't see the get your guys fired up. I didn't see that. So I didn't really see an amazing prospect. I didn't see a trash quarterback, but I didn't see like the next big guy. You know what I mean? And Trevor Lawrence, he has not lived up to the expectations. He's going into year 4 next? I don't even know what year he's in, year 3 or 4, and he's just not doing that good. Keep in mind, he also hasn't had lots of weapons, but his decision making in a lot of scenarios is just very poor. Yeah. Joe Flacco is doing better than Trevor Lawrence. That's kind of saying something. Joe Flacco's been there for 2 weeks. He's still throwing 3 touchdowns. Why is every backup quarterback who played for the Broncos is good? I'm pretty sure if Case Keenum went in for Josh Allen, he's going to throw a touchdown. Joe Flacco's over here throwing 3 touchdowns, but as soon as you put him on the Broncos, they're going to throw picks. Makes no sense. Little rant there, but yeah, David Njoku, he had a great game, big factor. Joe Flacco is the reason why they're kind of winning, But as you can see here, possession. Also keeping their playoff hopes alive. 8-5. Both of these teams are on that edge. The Broncos, like I'm saying, man, they can sneak in. Little things just kind of fall into place. The Broncos could very easily sneak into the playoffs. As you can see here, though, not a lot of first downs. Jacksonville actually statistically didn't do. Trevor Lawrence lost him this game. The defense was okay. Everything else was kind of moving into play. But, the matter of you're not going to win with the amount of turnovers. You know what I mean? And, when you're down the turnover battle, you're going to lose most times. Got this game wrong as well. I got a lot of games wrong this week. The Lions and the Bears, very big shocker for the Lions and the Bears. The defense for the Bears just came to play. They came to play. The Lions, Jared Goff, he has been on a streak from Thanksgiving to now. He has been on a streak of turnovers. And I believe he has the most turnovers since Thanksgiving, if I'm not mistaken. Jamar Gibbs had a pretty okay game. When Josh Reynolds is your main guy getting the most yards, your playmakers aren't coming to play. DJ Moore, still doing DJ Moore things. Sucks that he's on the Bears, though. It's like, it's funny because it's like Bryce Young needs that one guy, and that one guy is like a receiver, like DJ Moore. As you can see here, not a lot of first downs, a lot of offense. Possession time, the Lions just got beat all, in all 3 phases. They just didn't play good defense. They didn't play great offense. And, the Bears, they played slightly above average offense and defense, and this is the outcome. So, pretty easy win, I would say, for the Bears. Very surprising. I believe this win would have secured the Lions a playoff spot. Now they actually have to kind of fight for a playoff spot, which is kind of interesting. I believe this is the division game, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's a division game. Big loss for the Lions. Next we have the Bucs and the Falcons. I watched a little bit of this game. Baker Mayfield came to play. he came to play. 3 total touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, 2 throwing. Not a lot of yards, but he was able to do his thing. Desmond Ridder had a pretty decent game. He threw the ball a lot, but only got 1 touchdown. Rashid White probably had his best game of his entire career. Bijan didn't really do much. Got a touchdown, though. But, yeah, Baker Mayfield was the main reason why this Tampa Bay team was able to secure this win. 16 first downs and you won the game. That's saying something. But, yeah, the Falcons just were not playing great defense. They just couldn't contain some of the playmakers like Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and obviously Baker. They let them kind of cook, and this is the outcome. But game came down to the end. The Buccaneers needed to make a play, make it on that last little drive kind of, and were able to do that. So it was low-key a very big win and a big division win, to keep that in mind as well. This is a game that gets me mad. I got this game wrong for 1. 2, the Broncos very easily could have beat the Texans last week. Were just unable to do it just because of self-inflicted mistakes. And, the Jets are out here beating the Texans. It just doesn't make sense. C.J. Stroud did get hurt, which is understandable. But the way the game was going, they were going to lose even if he was playing. Nico Collins also got hurt. Devin Singletary, he's still somehow playing. Zach Wilson had a pretty decent game for everyone saying, he didn't want to be the starter, blah, blah. And the whole Zach Wilson situation, I'm not going to sit here and rave about Zach Wilson because I'm a big Zach Wilson. I wasn't a fan of him. I'm still not a fan of him. But I don't like how the media and everyone is blaming him for the Jets' failures. You have, a defensive-minded coach coaching the offense. You have not compatible skill players put together. You have an offensive line who's very injury-prone. You have a defense who's, they can either stop or get scored on like crazy. There's just too much inconsistencies in the Jets team. And for people to put the blame just on Zach Wilson, I'm not a big fan of that. There's games where I can say that he's lost. The game was on him. They lost because of Zach Wilson. Most of the games this last year and this season were not because of Zach Wilson. Some of them are. I'm not saying they're not. But a lot of them aren't fully his fault. And that's what's kind of annoying. People are blaming the Jets' failures because of Zach Wilson. And it's just really annoying because, for one, he wasn't really able to develop. I don't even know who the head coach was. It was Adam Gase, I think, at the time. One of the worst head coaches ever. And you have Nathaniel Hackett as the offensive coordinator. So the play calling is already bad. So, people are blaming Zach Wilson for the wrong reasons. The Jets' failures is not because of him. Some of them, not all of it. You can see here the Texans only got 10 first downs, was not efficient, not moving the ball at all, and just a complete domination, really. It was going to be they were going to lose anyway, but the injury to C.J. Stroud, just kind of plummeted everything in terms of the hopes. I would say with the 3 o'clock games, it kind of picks back up a little bit. The 49ers were able to work their way to a pretty easy win against the Seahawks. Drew Lock was able to get the start this game. 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. That's basically what you're going to get with Drew Lock. You're going to get 2 great touchdowns. You're going to get 2 horrible turnovers. Typically how a Drew Lock game goes. Brock Purdy had more yards, less interceptions. But Chris McCaffrey, if he is healthy, he is a dangerous running back. Athletic, smart, tough. 145, 9 yards a carry. what more can you want? You know what I mean? That's not even including his receiving yards. DK Metcalf over here, of course, fighting people like always, doing what he does best. But he did get a touchdown. Deebo Samuel had a great game, 149, 1 touchdown, 20 per catch. Just a very efficient game offensively for the 49ers, just putting the work on the Seahawks in a big division win. But, yeah, I mean, they have way more points with less possession time. That just proves how effective they were when they had the ball on the offensive side. But pretty easy win. Pretty glad to see the Seahawks, lose. That's always great. Next we have the Vikings and the Raiders. Best believe. Okay, so the highlights for this game: the Vikings kicked a field goal. We're gonna go on to the next game. We got the Bills and the Chiefs. This was an amazing game. This was an amazing game for a couple reasons. Josh Allen didn't even play that great. Mahomes didn't even play that great. The run game was not good for either team. The pass game wasn't good for either team. This was a defensive game coming down to the wire. And, man, the Chiefs look like they're just going to do a Chiefs thing and win the game on a miraculous last couple second play. And then Kadarius Toney, whatever his name is, he's offsides. And I was actually looking, and I was like, it didn't even look like it was just him that was offsides. Like, before that play started, it looked like an illegal formation or something because it looked like off. Like, the play just looked off. And when the flag was thrown, I thought it was for illegal formation because it just didn't look correct. And then they said it was offsides, and I was like, oh, it's offsides. But you could tell something was incorrect before the play started. And if you really dive into that last play before the ball is snapped, the offensive line is already in the shape of a U. So they're not even lined up on the line of scrimmage. So that alone is a penalty. And the players also are not, set correctly for the receivers. So that's another penalty. And Kadarius Toney was offsides. 3 penalties. They could have thrown 3 pre-snap penalties. And then Mahomes is like crying that they called one of them. And it is the most hilarious thing. And I love how everyone in the media can finally see like how entitled and whiny babies the Chiefs are and their fans. If you really think that the refs cheated this game away from the Chiefs, like, you are an absolute idiot because you just don't understand football. Literally every game, there's always something that lets the Chiefs win. There's always something that goes wrong. Keep in mind, I know a lot of people who have not seen one Bronco-Chiefs game in the last 4 or 5 years. This is how every Chiefs-Broncos games goes. Look at the last couple games that we've played the Chiefs. Look how close those games are. If you really dive in and watch those games, you'll see why we lost. Because of 1 or 2 penalties. And it was never like that with any other teams except when we go, not even go to play the Chiefs, just play the Chiefs in general. The Chiefs are a primetime favorite. So they're going to do everything in their power to try and, make them win and have a headline and this and that. And it's just funny whenever it doesn't go right because they're just so used to it. And it's just a beautiful sight to see how entitled they really are. And I hope a lot of people can finally see that. Next is my favorite 3 o'clock game of the week. We got the Broncos at the Chargers, basically a home game. We went down to the Chargers Stadium. I mean, there was no powder blue. There was no yellow. It was full orange, it was orange in that stadium. And that's what I like to see. First play of the game, Russ throws a pick. Very unfortunate. And, we get a 3-and-out on the defense in the red zone. We think, all right, the Chargers are going to go kick a field goal. Instead, they go for it. Pretty, it is what it is. I wasn't too big on, if you don't get it, okay, it's just like, hey. But I feel like when you get a turnover like that in the red zone, you take free points. You know what I mean? That's just what you do. Brandon Staley said, no, I'm going for it. What does he do? He doesn't get it. Turnover on downs. And what do? We go down and we score a touchdown. And it's just I don't know. This was just a great team win. Offense played great. Effectively scored points each quarter. Defense was able to get stops pretty much all the time. Was getting sacks at least 1 or 2 per drive. And was forcing them into bad plays. Lots of pressure. Justin Herbert gets hurt. He messes up his finger even worse than what it was. So he's out for the season, which is 4 games. But even if he was still in the game, they weren't going to win. The Broncos were on fire in terms of just the protection in the offensive line. Offense was clicking. Cortland Sutton making insane one-handed catches. The defense forcing sacks, like I said, every drive almost, and just turning the ball over. It was just insane. Very good team win. Javonte Williams got his first touchdown since 2021. He missed most of the season with the ACL injury last year. Had a couple touchdowns this year robbed. But, pretty great to see Javonte Williams be able to score. Wish I was able to see him score last week, but it is what it is. Austin Eckler, for whatever reason, they're giving him competition, for the 2 and 3 back. And it's like, why? You have Austin Eckler. Why not use him? They use him every play last year, and he, kind of carried. He kind of almost carried them to the playoffs. And it's like, you're going to offer him competition at the running back position? It's like, what? Another Brandon Staley just idiotic move. He went for it on 6 times on 4th down, and they converted 1. 0 for 12 on 3rd down. That is insane. The competence in his brain just doesn't make sense. I will say Jerry Jeudy had a very bad game. I believe he had 3 drops for a total of maybe 80-something yards and a touchdown. He had opportunities and was not able to capitalize. I feel like this game should have been 27-13. We would have beat them either way. But, this was a very odd game for the Chargers. They just weren't doing anything correct. As you can see here, Broncos dominated possession time, dominated the turnover battle, dominated the defensive side, got more first downs. This was a beatdown, a very big beatdown. Their only 3rd down completion or 4th down completion was at the end of the game when, it's already out of reach. But huge win for the Broncos. Like I said, 7-6. They I'm hoping they slip into the playoffs. 7-6 after going 1-5 is already a big accomplishment and a big success to a season. So, they got themselves in a hole. They're trying to get themselves out of it. So hopefully they're able to do that. Sunday night, like I said, I had a feeling that the Cowboys were going to win this game. I don't know what made me think. I was like, you know what? Cowboys at home, big division game. I could just see them winning. And it was a pure domination. Eagles just kept turning the ball over. I believe they had 3 fumbles. But yeah, those fumbles really killed the Eagles this game. I think if they wouldn't have fumbled, they may have still lost, but it would have been by a field goal or by a point. Because the Cowboys were just clicking. It's so strange. When the Cowboys are clicking, they're unstoppable. But when they can't do that, they look like the most mediocre, garbage team in the league. As you can see here, the Cowboys just pretty much dominated full possession time, turnover battle, first downs, fourth down efficiency. I mean, it was a beatdown. You know what I mean? And a big shout out to the defense for enabling that type of win for the Cowboys as well. But I don't know, man. The Eagles need to recuperate, go back to the drawing board, and they definitely need to find out how to come back from a mistake because they just weren't able to do that. Next, we had the two Monday night games that showed at the exact same time. Didn't really watch either of these games, but I did watch the highlights, reviewed the games, and man, dude, Tommy DeVito is he makes the correct plays at the correct times. Doesn't do anything flashy, but just does the correct thing that you need him to do. Jordan Love didn't have a great game, but didn't have a really bad game either. A.J. Dillon, I believe, broke his finger at the end of the game. Saquon had a pretty okay game. He had 2 touchdowns, pretty decent amount of carries, but he did fumble it. I don't know, man. It's just a gritty New York Giants team. It's just a gritty little team. They're able to come get this win late, steal this win for the Packers, to be honest, and, probably this game probably just knocked the Packers out of the playoffs. So, pretty insane there. But you can see, this game was a lot tighter, obviously. This wasn't a very insane win, but like I said, it's just a gritty team, and, I'm kind of happy for the Giants. Tommy DeVito, kind of becoming a fan. Next was a pretty improbable little comeback here with the Titans and the Dolphins. Will Levis probably had his best game. This is probably his second best game because his best game was the first time he ever started. But yeah, they rallied back. They were up at the half. Then it was kind of tied, and then the Dolphins just kind of went crazy at the end, and then the Titans were like, hey, we can go crazy too. Derrick Henry had 2 touchdowns with only 34 yards. Very strange. Tua had no touchdowns. Tyreek wasn't 100% this game, so obviously his numbers are going to be down. I believe DeAndre Hopkins got very lucky by not getting called on an offensive pass interference. But, he had a pretty good game, 124, a touchdown. Jalen Waddle had a pretty okay game as well, but they just couldn't pull it off. They just couldn't pull it off. Titans come up with a huge upset. Big division win. But yeah, this is a very interesting... Like I said, the AFC is so close, man. It's so close. And the AFC South and the AFC East, it's a lot of talent, you know what I mean? If you look at the Titans, Will Levis is kind of becoming a decent quarterback. You got Will Levis, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson. Who's the, Trevor Lawrence. And then you got Tua. Who knows who's going to be with the Patriots? You got Josh Allen, and you got. Wow, who is the other team there? Who is that other team? The Jets. The Jets maybe, They might do something, who knows. But yeah, that's pretty much all the games. You got the Cardinals and the Commanders on bye, so they didn't have their games, obviously. Anyways, let's go on to the picks of Week 15. Dang, I hate saying that because that means we're almost at the end. We got Thursday night. We got the Chargers and the Raiders. I don't know who to pick here, man. I really don't. You have the backup quarterback, Eaton. You got the Raiders coming off of the worst loss probably in franchise history, one of the most boring games of all time. You got backups both. This game, another bad primetime Thursday game. I don't know who to pick here, man. I really don't. I really, really don't. We beat the Chargers really bad, expose them in a lot of areas. But the Raiders, man, they got destroyed in front of everybody at home. I feel like the Raiders are going to come back with a little bit of hey, we lost, and, we're going to take... I don't know, man. I don't know who they're going to... I don't know what's going to happen here. Khalil Mack might go crazy, going back to, the Raiders. You want to put a show. I don't know who to pick, dude. This is a 50-50. Keenan Allen also isn't playing this game. I think I'm going to have to go with the Raiders. Would I be surprised if the Chargers blow out the Raiders? No, not at all. We got 3 Saturday games. We got the Vikings and the Bengals. I'm picking the Bengals here. I believe Nick Mullins is starting. They put Joshua Dobbs as a third-string quarterback. What? For why? For no reason. No reason at all. Unfair. That is unfair. We got the Steelers and the Colts. I really don't know who to pick here as well. This is another coin flip. I think that the Colts lost to the Bengals pretty bad. Steelers lost to the Patriots. Both teams coming off of, pretty bad losses. This is a bad week for picks, man. Especially when my percentage went down. I would say this game is going to go... it's the Colts at home. I'm going to have to go with the Steelers on this one, man. I feel like the defense is going to step up and realize they lost the game last week and clean that up. Broncos and Lions. I'm going to pick the Broncos here. I like the momentum. Jared Goff, he's on like I said, he's on that turnover streak right now. Hopefully that continues at least for one more week. I'm a big fan of the Lions. I've always kind of felt bad for the Lions as a franchise. It sucks for me to see them lose, but I just need them to lose this week, and then I want them to win the rest of the games. But, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised, unfortunately, if the Lions come back and, play crazy defense and, kind of shut us down. But I hope we can expose their defense and cause some turnovers on their offense so that we can win this game and keep our playoff hopes alive. Next, we have Sunday, Chiefs and the Patriots. The Chiefs, if they lose this game, I'm going to just go outside naked. We got the Jets and the Dolphins. I'm picking the Dolphins there. Bears and the Browns. I don't know, man. This is going to be a close game. You don't really know how this is going to go. The Browns have a pretty good defense. Bears... This is going to be close. I'm going to pick the Browns here. I think Joe Flacco is going to be able to get it done. I think he's going to be able to get it done. But would I be surprised the Bears win? No. Next, we got the Texans and the Titans. I'm going to pick the Titans just because Derrick Henry and just because I potentially don't know if C.J. Stroud is going to play. He didn't practice for 3 days, I believe, straight. So, makes me think that he may not be a full 100% if he does play. If he doesn't play, then it's, Davis Mills. And Will Levis is better than Davis Mills. Plus, I feel like DeAndre Hopkins is going to kind of go crazy against the Texans. Next, we have the Giants and the Saints. I'm picking the Giants here, man. Actually, I don't know. This is another coin flip because the Saints are sometimes really good. I think, actually, the Saints are going to win this game. Will I be rooting for the Giants? 100%. Would I be surprised if the Giants win? No. But I think the Saints just have a better chance. Plus, it's at home. I don't know. Next, we have the Falcons and Panthers. I'm picking the Falcons. Like I said, I'm not going to pick the Panthers until they show me something, and they just haven't been able to show me anything. Next, we have the Bucks and the Packers. I feel like this is going to be a really close game. Probably one of the closest games of the week. I think that the Buccaneers are going to come back, man. I think they're going to, they know that the playoffs are right there. It's easy grabs. I feel like they're able to use that as motivation, to beat the Packers. And I just feel like they're going to have a little bit more motivation than the Packers to win. Next, we have the 3 o'clock games with the 49ers and the Cardinals. Picking the 49ers there should be zero reason the Cardinals even come close to, beating the 49ers. Next, we have the Commanders and the Rams. I'm picking the Rams. Commanders did have a bye, but I just feel like the Rams are a better team, especially on the offensive side. Sunday's probably the best 3 o'clock game with the Cowboys and the Bills. I think the Cowboys are going to win this game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills win. Not going to be surprised at all. Plus, it's at home. This is going to be a big win, big game for the Cowboys. I hope the Cowboys win, just, because of the Bills' playoffs hopes. I think it's going to be a close game, man. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Bills, kind of blow out the Cowboys, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys blow out the Bills. I mean, the way they're playing, Josh Allen's a little bit reckless. Cowboys can turn the ball over, and, Cowboys got that pass rush. So I'm picking the Cowboys. This game can go either way. Next, we have Sunday night with the Ravens and the Jags. I'm picking the Ravens there. I do hope that the Jags win, but we'll see how that kind of goes. Next, we have Monday night with the Eagles and the Seahawks. I'm picking the Eagles. They better win. There should be no reason why they don't beat the Seahawks. I believe Geno Smith should be coming back. Eagles actually, I don't think have ever even beat the Seahawks, which is crazy to even think about. But I feel like this is going to be the first time. Right now, my pick percentage so far is 122 correct out of 208 games. That's 58%. I went down 1%. So hopefully I can bounce back this week, but we will see how that goes. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'm excited, man. I've never been this excited this late in the season for the Broncos because they never have made anyone excited this late. So I'm excited, man. I'm ready. I'm also not ready for the season to end. I love football season. I love the little intricacies. As you can see, all of the things that are occurring right now. It's beautiful, and I love it. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'm trying to have this up before the Thursday night game. It's probably gonna start, but yeah, I will see y'all hopefully next Wednesday. Should be back on normal track, but appreciate you guys for watching. This is a little bit longer video today, but yeah, I'll see y'all next week.